I'm in the back of the general store, and I wanted to show you what's underneath the general store. So it's pretty unusual that our house has crawl space. Most old Adobe houses do not have crawl spaces, but ours does. And even more unusually, it has what appears to be a root cellar underneath the general store, which would kind of make sense because they needed storage. So you can see it's quite deep. It's actually about 6 feet deep under here. There's nothing really down there aside from an old ladder. But yeah, it's a pretty substantial root cellar. I'm not exactly sure how they accessed it. I think if you look here, there may have been a stairway right there. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're going to do anything with the space. But it's pretty interesting. It's a little spooky. And then also down here, you can see from the general store era, there's a bunch of old garbage from like the 20s through the 50s maybe. So some cool stuff. There's an old lady's shoe. Vincent started cutting away the cement plaster, and this is a super good example of why cement and Adobe don't mix well. We took out the old cement porch here, and you could see there was a low point in the porch, and you could actually see moisture in the crawl space where water had been flowing down between the porch and the Adobe wall, and it actually created a complete passage all the way into the crawl space. So this section of the wall is pretty much unsupported. It's just being held up by the stucco and by the wall around it. So we've got to let this dry out for probably a week or two before we can start working on it. I'll probably make some wood blocks to fit in here just to support this so it doesn't collapse on us while we're waiting. But yeah, this is like, you can see it just turns the Adobe back into just dirt when there's too much moisture. And oftentimes people think that the solution to an eroding wall like this is to just pack more cement in there, and all that does is it just sends the water up higher, and then it starts falling out even higher up on the wall. So the correct solution is to remove all of the cement and take it back to an earthen plaster, and repair it with Adobe's. So yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do in the next couple weeks here. So we'll get this section repaired, and then we'll move on to the next section. But I think this is probably going to be one of the worst sections on the main house. So we'll see. And here you can actually see this white stuff. That's the salt that got trapped behind the wall, or behind the cement plaster, and is building up on the Adobe, causing it to crumble. So that's one of the number of reasons why cement is not compatible with Adobe, because not only does it trap moisture inside of the wall, but it traps salt inside of the wall. So this window's from about a 100-year-old house. It's an old casement window that actually went, there were two of them that went on either side of a fireplace, but it worked just perfect for this. I just had the sash itself, so I had to make the frame and sill and everything, but it's all nice and tight, and should keep the chickens warm in the winter, and it's a way for us to air out the hen house in the summertime. So we've spent the last few weeks getting ready for the next season. We went up to the forest above the village and cut our firewood for next winter. We got about 4 cords, and it was pretty easy to get because the Forest Service has been doing a lot of thinning in the forest around the villages to protect them from wildfire. So there's a whole bunch of trees that were down. All we had to do was chop them up, load them in the truck, bring them back, split them, and get them stacked. So they're all stacked and drying. So they should be good in season by the time it starts getting cold. You can see we got the chicken house finished, and we got our adult birds, like Pancake here, moved in, and they're getting nice and settled, and they're laying a lot of eggs, so they seem to be pretty happy. And on the right hand side, we partitioned off that part of the run for the younger birds, so that they can start getting used to being around the adult birds without having to fully integrate with them, so the adult birds don't pick on them. So they've been on the right hand side there for about a week now. We bring them in at night, but hopefully in the next week or two we'll be able to integrate the 2 flocks, so the young birds can sleep in the hen house, because right now they're sleeping in our house and they're getting a little bit stinky and noisy. So the yard we have started working on as well. So down below here, that's a Comice pear that we put in. Up top is a Seckel pear, and then in the back we put in a 20th century Asian pear, and then this adult tree right here is actually an old apricot tree that was here before we were, and according to our neighbors we'll probably only get a harvest of apricots once every 10 to 12 years, because we usually get later frosts here, so it freezes all the buds and the fruits off. So right now it's covered in fruit, so we're really hoping that we don't get another frost, because it would be nice to get a harvest of apricots. Down here we have 2 blueberry bushes, which don't usually grow well in our soil, because our soil's got a lot of clay in it, and they like a really sandy, well-draining soil. So I heavily amended the soil with sand and compost, so we'll see if they grow. It's kind of an experiment. But yeah, we're planning on working more on the house in the next few weeks and less on the yard. But we just really wanted to spend a little bit of time outside in the spring. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with the yard.